Welcome you to another episode of Ladies Date, and in this show we talk about women issues, different issues that affect the young, that affect the old, that affect the married, that affect those who are single. And today I have a very interesting panel, and today we'll actually be discussing about money, asset and property. And I'll be your host, and Bahati Kyama. Today we are actually discussing money, assets and ownership of property for women. And today in my panel I have begin from the side. Yes.
Okay, I'm Lucy Nyambura Bukunu. I'm a mom. I have worked for 8 years, employment, and then I've been in self-employment since 2019. And well, I hope this will come with the topic that we are going to discuss. So yeah, I have that the experience both in employment and self-employment. Yeah, thank you.
My name is Mrs. Florence Angala, a mother, a wife. I'm born again, and I'm a businesswoman.
My name is Agnes Kinyanzui, and this lady is a retired lady. She used to work with Kenya Post and Telecommunication. Many years I left there after working with them for 38 years. And I'm married, I'm born again. In fact, my family, all of them are born again Christians. And after I retired, I started a course with Theological College, and I got a BA and a master's from different colleges. So I thank God for enabling me. In fact, the master's I got during this 2019 is when I graduated for master's. So all that course I did when I got retired. And I thank God for enabling me to do that.
Okay. Wow. And maybe too in the same course, because I hear some of you have been employed, almost all of you have ever been there. And after, do you think when it comes to maybe in the marketplace, do women earn equal to men? Does it vary? Do men earn more? Because you see, it's a great assumption that actually you can have the same job with a man and he's paid more.
If I can start this conversation regarding employment and for married women, also for married women and their husbands. I think at the beginning, man was the one who was to bring bread. Okay? He was to bring bread, and the woman was to take care of the family. And now, because of the situation which is there now, both the people are working. Now, when it comes to property and the money, you find there are some women who are paid more than their husbands, who are earning more than their husbands, and even husbands earning more than their women. But you find when it comes to owning property, there are some things which happen there. Maybe, and especially to a lady, you know, sometimes ladies were not supposed to own properties, but men used to have to own. These days, if you are a married woman, you are entitled to have a property. Property, because the husband has a property, so that property is yours both.
Okay, maybe just on that thought, there has been a recent comment. If you watched the interview for the CJs, where Martha Koome actually, her suggestion was that if you have property, you had property, for example, you bought land, you bought a car or something before you got married, that then when you get married, that property should not be for both of you. That in case that marriage was to end, you get what is yours because you owned it before you got married, and the man remains with what he has.
He had before he got married.
If the man had a lot of land before he got married, he remains with everything because it was his before he got married. What do you think? because you're saying that nowadays property becomes for both of you.
Yeah.
But I think we're in times where people are feeling entitled. What I've worked for is mine, and you should keep what is yours.
So, and I think basically today's woman, unlike some let's say like the workplace, the marketplace, the world is changing. It's a changing world, and it's really changing fast. Because back in the day, like let's say when I started work some 20 years or so, it was not the same. Men used to be paid more because they were the one out there, and women were just emerging and doing their degrees and getting into the women were few and getting into the workplace, whether in business, in employment, professionally. So it was kind of, you know the society where you live, where you are coming from. What works in Kenya won't work in America.
That's true.
So the men, like mostly in Africa, are given, let's say they have an advantage, but it has changed now. You see, women are earning more or equal with the men. If you get the CJ's job, it doesn't mean that now because Mother Koome is a woman, she'll get lesser pay than the former CJ. So which is, it's a blessing and it's trouble at the same time, depending on how you look at it. But the laws are there to govern, to guide, but it is not a must. It depends from person to person. And in the family aspect, every family operates differently. And most of the time in life, it depends on just the understanding between the two of you. The laws are there to govern, to give guidance, or it comes handy when there's trouble or when there is a dispute. But women nowadays are owning property almost equally, and they are more aggressive than the men, if I must say, because boy child in trouble. The boy child is in trouble. The ladies are really aggressive professionally. In the business world, they are out there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, my opinion is that just as they have stated, the gender, that is the man being male or female, does not determine your pay. There are other factors in their guidelines. There is probably paperwork that will be looked at. There will be experience, and just the way you brought up Mother Koome, like what we saw during the interview. She was not only ready for the interview, you could tell. She had the experience. She's been in the judiciary for close to 30 years. 30 years or more.
Yeah.
And then she's a lawyer in herself, an advocate, I guess. So it goes to more than am I a man or a woman. That you can never just employ someone based on their gender. I think that's international. Now, on the other aspect, you asked about what Mother Koomi mentioned about the woman gaining from the husband or vice versa, because at times you'll find it's the woman who has more. It might bring controversy to me, being that I've seen, like, let me just give an example. I've seen, like, in the Western, they tend to have prenups. You've heard of prenups, right? Whereby when you get into this marriage, it's a mutual understanding between the two parties. Like, yes, you've come with this, you've come. In fact, it applies more on celebrities.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of wealth. So they believe that if you come into this, I have a lot to lose in case of a breakup. But if she was to go directly into that, I think, to me, I feel like it would really affect the relationships.
Yeah.
However, when it comes now to matters, ownership of assets, be it vehicles, be it houses, mortgages, and all that, women have, as she said, have taken an aggressive approach to it. You'll find, like, where I started my life in, that was Tena Estate. You used to find the whole area has landladies, not landlords, landladies. So I feel like women are more organized, even when it comes to money matters. They are able to really plan way ahead. Like, we can live, this house can stay with a certain budget, and the rest can be invested somewhere else. So with that, you find that they are able to acquire a lot of assets. Some are lucky; they are even able to get, like, inheritance. We've heard of rich kids, the Keremas. You see a child, well, maybe they hustled their way, but at the end of the day, they are lucky enough to get tons and tons of assets, just out of inheritance. So we cannot limit ourselves as well. There are so many opportunities out there.
Okay. There is a question also I want us to discuss. I don't know.
It's okay.
In this owning property. Now you find some women are not faithful to their husbands, and especially some aggressive women who are looking for properties. They will look for these properties without a husband involving a husband. Now, what do you think about that? In case they come to
They separate. You have your own.
to separate. Now the husband, they had properties, they have properties with the husband, but the lady has already
Done
a part outside without
and
the
loaded
husband.
bank account.
Yes. Now how this now? How will it be? How will it be?
the outcome.
The
I
outcome.
think they do that with a reason. And the reason being, they have seen their husband's character. You see, we have this, I can say it's sort of an insecurity. We've seen our men, and generally, especially the millennials, there's a lot of infidelity. Today, every other day, infidelity is such an elephant in most marriages or relationships. So I think why this woman would be doing that, she probably suspects the husband, or the husband has already done it, and she's just staying committed to this marriage. But any other time she feels like this man might get a kid out of wedlock. You see, at the end of the day, that is not what you want for a family. You want you to be a team. It's our kids, our children. We are getting these assets for our future generations, us together. So if you find your husband has this character of kutangatanga, what do? You get your own assets for your future kids. You see, it comes off as being selfish, but at the same time, I can't rebuke that one. I know she's coming from a place, and it's a place of insecurity, which she has seen somewhere.
But let me ask you, in regard to the same, there is that where there is insecurity of my husband. But what about when women are getting married and then you're told, you as a woman, you need your own account,
Yes, but exactly just as Lucy has said,
So we
for the
go
same-
into it already.
It's already, yeah, from your mama. My grandma told me the same. Yeah, but
So-
she was in the thought of, these male creatures, be careful. They can really, really mess your life or play you. So it's just a by the way. You see, like she's just telling you, just be prepared. Don't go and just sleep there. It's like a precaution. You see, it's like a precaution. But basically, that is not the ideal. That is not what is supposed to happen. But it comes as a result of, we have brains, we are working. God created us with wisdom in every aspect of this. So when you see someone owning some property and they are not telling their partners, they've seen something, a red flag somewhere. Yes. But in an open relationship where there is communication, love, commitment, you can really trust and bank your life on this person. No problem. Couples will always be open. From the car, from the vyombo, the plots, the everything. But if you see someone going back and they've seen something. It's always as a result of something.
Okay. Now, me, I was told you have to open your small account somewhere by the lady who was my best lady in my wedding. She told me later, because she told me things were not happening well. So she told me, be careful, open just your a small account somewhere, and they keep money, and don't tell anybody. And I did, and it was good anyway. But then later, I'm giving you an example of a couple I know very well. That the woman started looking for properties sometimes back after getting married, and then the husband noticed very, very late. I mean, very late. He thought, this property belongs to my wife, and she has so much money in the bank. And when the husband realized that she has not, she has that property and there's some amount of money in the bank, and he has been doing almost everything in the house, even paying mortgage, educating his children, paying school fees and all that. He's doing everything, and he has never gone aside. He has not gone out of their wedding. So now he is wondering, surely, what is wrong with my wife? Why is he looking for properties outside without me knowing? So he was not happy about it. But he said, okay, I want to see the end of it. I want just to see if God keeps me alive. I just want to see the end of it all, because I cannot imagine my wife hiding some properties from me. And I've never did anything wrong. I've never hidden anything from her. We have been quite open together with the issues of money and everything. So I wanted you to tell me now such a case. This person is not, the husband is a faithful husband. So now the wife, why was she moved to
So you're
to do
asking
that?
a question.
Yes, I'm asking you a question.
So I think I think that was not right. That was not right, because basically we go back to the basics.
Yeah.
We are Christians.
Yes.
We are born again. Unless she wasn't born again, or some things you can,
Maybe she got some advice.
you cannot, you cannot really explain.
Yes, that could be a reason.
Yeah.
Advice from, in fact, that is not someone who is straight. The person who is giving her advice.
Yeah.
And there's lack of communication
Yes.
in that relationship. That purely there's no communication.
Yes.
And I would also say there the woman is actually not acting right.
Yeah.
Because as you said, the man has no questionable character.
Yeah.
But that said, some things I've come to realize there is usually never a right or wrong when you look at the end result. Because the end result here is what? She is having assets.
Yeah.
And the end result of these assets usually, it's our children. We are doing it for them. So whether it's in my name or it's in your name or it's a joint, does it really make a difference?
Maybe
it
the
does.
question mark would come also. You can imagine he's bearing every burden and you have money and you totally don't want
You feel misused.
to help him. He's
help
paying
him,
school fees and maybe sometimes he gets stranded, but you act.
Yeah.
As if you
Me,
don't
actually,
have money.
I'm very broke.
It's
Exactly.
common with women.
So that would be a very big problem. Then even if maybe, of course, you brought in the issue of you're thinking of your children, but you're living now.
Yeah.
So
For the now, yeah.
yeah,
Because I think that would bring trouble into the relationship. Sometimes you could think you are being wise or saving for the family, but then love is all round.
Yeah.
You are lying.
yes, true.
Because Mama said that the husband was honest, open, helping, caring. There are no red flags or signals here. So I think depending, because you cannot really say, we cannot categorically say and condemn and say if because every relationship is unique, every family is unique. What works for me does not work for you. So it depends. But if this person is straight, there's no need to hide, because eventually it will bring more trouble, or it will be a blessing rather than a curse. Because the ideal is, if at all, because she's talking about ownership, property ownership in marriage, you should be accountable and open to each other, honest, loving, and because sometimes we've seen cases, I've seen people, someone passes on, because we are living in very strange times. It's not like the days you used to live like I'll go to school, go to college, get married, live life, retire, and then you expect to die somewhere there 90 going 100. Things have really changed. To live long is by God's grace. And sometimes I've seen families, or there's one case in mind. I remember the husband left, and he had properties, and he passed on, and the wife was not aware, and the friends knew
About the property.
Yeah, but the wife did not have any documentation. She was just hearing about it from friends and relatives during the planning of the burial. And eventually she lost everything. You don't know where the bank accounts are, you just hear. You told a friend or a brother or a relative. And you know human beings basically are selfish. So the property the man had hidden, he didn't have another family or another woman or anything somewhere. But the properties got lost. And sometimes we hear of money being clawed back to the government for lack of... Nobody comes out to claim the money. So you don't know what happens today. And I have that plot and my husband doesn't know. Sometimes those properties go to the wrong people. You thought that it would go back to your children, but you see? So whichever way you look at it, it's not really very wise. I can disclose, but then if
because you still remain as the owner.
if I'm afraid that my partner might, because sometimes we must agree.
Yes.
You don't marry your brother or how can I say it without getting too blunt?
Say it as it
You are
is.
two selfish human beings who come together, and by the grace of God, He brings out the good in you. But at the back of your mind, you always want to do and keep the good stuff to yourself. So the same happens in properties when it comes to money and everything. But it's always good to be open, and if at all, if I'm afraid he'll squander or misuse the property, then I can register in my name. I have the rights. I hold the cards. But he's aware, just in case anything happens. Yeah, or the children are aware. If you are afraid your partner can misuse, or because we've seen people misuse. We've seen. I know of a neighbor. He sold his entire land without the wife knowing, and they were only left with the place to bury and where the house is.
Wow.
So things happen. Yes.
Now, when we come back to the scriptures, because we are taught to be transparent to one another,
And you are one.
is it really right before the eyes of God? Is it right for me to have
Yours.
my own properties without my husband knowing, or my husband having his own property without me knowing? Is it right?
It is
I'm
wrong.
asking. It is very wrong, isn't it?
It is wrong. It
In
is
the
wrong.
eyes of men and God. Because when God joined us together, we became one, isn't it? And there is no secret. Because if we become one, like this finger, does it have any secret?
He has
doesn't.
joints.
It has it has joints.
Yes.
Mm. So those joints are the ones which are joining us together. Joining us together. So in fact, I don't think whether it is wise for a woman to have her own property without her husband knowing, because as you have said, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yes.
Anything can happen. And this person said, in fact, if my wife, in case he dies before me, that property will just give it to Holmes, because he was not included with it to it.
Yeah.
He will give it to Holmes. He will sell and they give the money to children's home. So which is not right. I think there is some curse there.
Yeah. There's a problem.
There is a problem
True.
there.
There's a
There is
problem.
a curse.
Yeah.
So what I can say, it is good to be open to one another. To one another. Come what may. If I go without any problem. If my husband goes, he will go without any problem. Before the eyes of God, that is. But those who are for the world, they want to possess,
Yeah.
possess,
Yeah.
which is not right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I think that's very dangerous. But also there's something she said when she was saying that as time goes by, women are owning more property. They're becoming, you said they're becoming more aggressive. Why do you think this is? Because the man is being, it's like the society is turning, the pages are flipping. Why do you think it is happening? Women are owning, is it because of the equity issue? I mean, it's when their eyes have been opened and women are realizing I can now get wealth.
Why is it happening? Wow, the world is changing. If you look at the population, realistically, women are more, and we are coming out to realize that life is really changing in the actual sense. And sometimes you are there. There are single mothers, just like Lucy has said, and many others. Like this COVID season, now see where the world is at today. Women have to go out there, they have to work, because the reality is you might be left with these children. So what if I'm just there, laid back and waiting for the man to bring bread? What happens to this family? You see, the world is really changing. It's not like yesteryears, during our mothers' times, our grandmothers' times. The world is really changing, and families are being run by women. Most families are being run by women.
It's true.
Yeah. Yes.
If I can chip in on that, as she says, it's changing, the world is changing, and so are we changing. In fact, what I've noticed, like here in Kenya, what happens is today it's more advantageous to be a woman as opposed to being a man. You look at it this way. When it comes to matters like procurement, you've heard of AGPO. AGPO, the marginalized groups for youth and women.
Yeah.
As in, just like the way we've been saying in church, seize the moment, seize the opportunity. You know, those have always been opportunities, and many women have taken it up. Women in business have done it. You take that, you get that, it's a license sort of, it's a certificate rather, and it gives you an advantage, not really over a man, but in general, you might not be required to have as many things as a man might.
Yeah.
You see, that's already an advantage. If you look at even the employment, the leadership, especially on the leadership, the president, even the executive and all that, they are really leaning towards women. That's why we even came up with this, the devolution. There had to be a women representative. So I think it has been up to us. The world is already giving us that advantage. So it's up to us to take that opportunity, go with the flow, and some way, somehow, you might not get lost because it has opened up. You see, it's like what a man can do, a woman can do. So we take that opportunity, of which I feel good. By the way, I normally look at so many women around. You know, Kitambo, when we were younger, we had selected women driving cars, but today almost any woman can drive. Even in campus, you will see young ladies striving to do what was a jobs man to do. So it's been up to us, and I feel good when I see like most people have gone up with the task, and they're able to acquire assets. They're able to get even in investments, it's not just assets of cars and houses. There are these investments of bonds, nini. You hear that, you will always hear there's one woman or two involved.
Wow. Yeah, that is.
And again, I can add on that. In the Bible, in Genesis, somewhere in chapter 1 of Genesis, is saying God has given equal, though we are women, but here God has given us equal opportunities whereby a woman can do whatever man can do. Now the problem is some women, when they get that property, or they earn more than men, then you find that they are looking down on men, which is wrong. They are supposed to move together and work together. So that is, a lot of women are not doing that. And I pray that they will come to understanding that they are supposed to be working together. Even if the husband earns less and the woman earns more than the husband, it should be, they should work together to see that everything is running smoothly. That is my take.
Okay, in that same part of, because she's used the marriage setup, where the woman is earning more, the man is earning less. And there's this notion that the man should be the provider. And what if the setup is the woman is even earning 3 times what this man is bringing? Should the man still be the one? To provide. How much should
To-
it be?
to
Because
provide,
when you
the-
have less,
What,
the
what they can do is now to sit down.
And agree.
When they sit down, they agree. Okay, to what shall I be doing with this, with my salary? What will you be doing with your salary? That is a woman who is earning more than the husband. And the husband, because the woman sees the income, I mean the salary of her husband. She cannot, of course, if she loves him, she cannot.
she can't say rent ni yako.
She cannot
Pambana.
say I'm school fees is yours. And especially if the children are in private schools. And you know private schools are very expensive. She cannot say now you just pay school fees and the rent. That will be too much for him. Because if the salary cannot cannot pay rent, cannot pay school fees for the children, then there will be a very big gap. So they bring the money there on the table, they divide what they are supposed to do. You are supposed to take this, I'm supposed to take this, you are supposed to take this. And there will be no problem, honestly.
Yes.
There will be no problem.
Yeah, and then again, Anne,
And then
naturally,
before you say it,
yes.
before you say what you want to say,
yes.
it does not mean that you are not saving for the future. You are saving for the future, of course. But then let everything run smoothly.
Okay. Naturally, women are not wired to be providers. And that's why you see a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. And then men again have the ego troubles them. The ego, he'll pick from nowhere. Oh, unaona wewe ndio uko na pesa. Oh, you've seen it. It's real. From nowhere, and you've done nothing. So it is a blessing, and at the same time, depending on who and your understanding and your personality, and you know there are men when their wives earn more, they feel intimidated. So they some will behave like they want to curtail you, they want to pin you down. He wants to act, not to be, but to act. The man to fill up for the money part. But with understanding, there are couples who are doing great. With understanding, no problem. But a famous preacher once told us, we were in a couple meeting somewhere, and he was challenging the men, no matter, even if your wife becomes the president, tafadhali, wacha nyumba ulipe, mkate ikue yako, ugali ikue yako. Wacha at least, bibi alipe stima, na maybe an example. But basically, try as a man to be in charge of your household, because you want respect. Because you know you are not married just, especially in the marriage setup. It's not just between the two of you. They are relatives. You are married to a community, especially in Africa. They are your sisters, they are your mother, they are these. People will know. And then there'll be that aspect of, they look at him with, huyu hata afanyangi kitu hapa sasa. So at least try as a man, and then some things keep them to yourselves, even to protect the image of the family as a couple. But the man should try as much as possible to do the basics.
Maybe to put a span hapo kwa wax. Let me ask, what about these women? There are women who they earn the salary, and maybe to cover up for the husband, they give him the ATM. He becomes anakaa yeye ndio hapa, even if you know, yes, this man maybe doesn't have a job.
Or he doesn't have a... No, that is good. That is wise. That is love. But let the man not misuse that privilege.
Exactly.
And not abuse. You see the sacrifice and the love and the trust. Let him not abuse that. Because the day he does that, I tell you, it won't be well. Because that is really humbling.
These things, they always boils down to communication.
Yes, yes.
All these fears, however we might say, whether it's in bringing up kids, any sphere, when it involves a marriage, it boils down to communication.
Yeah.
Just as she stated, I'll just give an example of a friend who used to work at James Cambridge. That's an international school. Her net salary, I'm not even talking about gross, net, used to be around 240 something.
Yeah.
Net. The husband was still in the junior stages of a bank. So I never really got to know the exact amount, but I could tell because I have also ever worked in a bank for a short while. So I would think between 40 and 50. That is net, not gross. So what happened? She sort of covered up for him out of love. Actually, we left campus together, and by the time we were leaving campus, they already had a child. So she took up a lot of responsibility. I mean, you have 200 plus. What will you do? Si lazima you pay for your kids' education. You're the one doing most of the shopping, which was very okay. But as you said, he abused. They end up abusing.
Yeah.
You see, when someone, even not just a man, even a woman, when you lack responsibility, you end up not using that money the way it's supposed to be. So they had so much commotion, they even separated for a while. Yeah, they did. So the parents came in there, and some of us, even as much as single as we are, you know, it's usually told a coach doesn't go to play. So you can have good advice, not using it on yourself. So I just gave her an example of my own parents.
Yeah.
They both were working, self-employed, no pay slips at all.
Yeah.
But they were very open about their finances.
Yeah.
I grew up seeing some of the challenges they were facing.
Yeah.
And one of the challenges was about finances. My mom at some point had more income than my dad. So it brought a lot of problems. But when they teamed up completely, as in Ile, you cannot buy anything or you cannot do anything without telling the other partner. Somehow the house became peaceful. So I gave her the same example, and she really applied it. They sat the same way you've put it, with a piece of paper. You'll be doing this, rent is school fees, do quarter. Don't do the full. Of course you cannot afford the full, but do quarter.
Yeah.
And you see, his income became tied up somewhere, so he could no longer go out and drink as much as he used to and come late. You see, it has been tied up somewhere. He becomes responsible. Today you can't even talk, because to me he's one of the role models of the guys I see. But it's after a conflict, which is okay. We learn through stages. You said from the other top. We always learn. There's a stage of 2 years honeymoon. After 10 years, it will never be the same. But you learn through those mistakes. So what I'm trying to say here is, let it boil down to communication. Communicate. The finances shouldn't be about your happiness in that house. Even if you're making zero, we can still be happy with the little that I'm making, as long as we learn how to have those responsibilities and communicate.
You want to say something before I continue?
No.
Yeah, maybe to add on that, maybe money should not really be an issue in a relationship, and for this matter, to be specific, in a marriage. If at all, back to the basics. Whom are you married to? How did you get married? What are your ideals? Communication, honesty. Do you love each other? Do you trust each other? Because money and sex are two elephants in a marriage, and they are key. If you don't handle them well, you are done. It's cause you'll be like, oh, ni me, I earn more, so I expect my husband to mop the house, for example. It will bring trouble.
That's true.
Yeah. And then the men, I think, I'll emphasize on that, their ego. men have an issue with women having money. There is that underlying. They have really to deal with that. They're always like, you'll wake up and for no reason find trouble or umeniangalia hivyo juu kona pesa mingi. Because it's real. It's real.
Let me add on this. I will just give you an example with myself. And I don't say that I am the best lady in the family. When we were staying in Nairobi, as I told you, I used to work with I was working for Kenya Post and Telecommunication. And it happened, sometimes my husband will lose job, I will take over. So the first time my husband lost the job, I went to the office and they asked, because I heard women are allocated with official houses. And I went to ask, and the person told me, the supervisor told me that, okay, you can be allocated with a house, provided you give a reason why you want, as a married woman, you want to get an official house. Okay. Then what do? Take this form, attach it with a letter writing reason why you want to be housed. Okay, I did. I filled the form, I did. And then after that, I was told where to go to the personnel of housing. I went, in fact, I did not finish 2 weeks without any. Now then, my husband was not working. And we were housed by another neighbor. That was a long time, in 71. Is when I was when my husband lost his first job. So when I went to the personnel manager for housing, he told me, okay, let me see what I can do, and then eventually I was allocated with a house. Do you know, then I said, I went before the Lord and I said, and I was not born again. It is because I was just brought in a religious family. I told the Lord, because I don't know the fate of my husband's job, please, if I'm given a house, I'm allocated with a house, please, I would want to leave that house when I retire. And that is what happened. Though we used to move. If the lease has finished, then I was moved to another house. Like that until 1999 is when we left. Wow. We came here. And we were living in that the official house. So, now I could not say, okay, because my husband is not working, I cannot help him. My husband is not working, I cannot be with him, or I cannot support him. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, then I got just in that period, I got a message. Another lady came to me and told me, Agnes, so and so was saying, if she was as beautiful as you are, she would not stay with her unworking husband. I told her, listen to me. Where you were speaking to her, just go there and never, ever, ever bring any stupid stories to me. And that was all. Since then, and they feared me. I said, no matter what. And it reached a point that I could not afford. I could not afford the transport. I could not afford this transport, so I had to track to the office. Then one day, I wore rubber shoes and the stockings. Then I went. Another gentleman saw me. Hey, Agnes, you cannot. I cannot imagine you in a rubber shoe and the stockings. I told him, you are not my husband and you don't know. what I'm going through. So keep quiet and continue with your work.
Wow.
So sometimes you find okay, ladies, we face some difficulties, but then when we are facing all these difficulties, if we are married, we should not say that I cannot help my partner, I cannot help my husband because I'm earning little. Yes, I was earning little, but then the little we had, I was earning, we used to share together. And the children, we had to pay school fees. And then he used to go look for manual jobs outside there. And they come with a nini, at least with a juala, with the skuma, waru, nini. He would help me in such a way.
Yes.
So, I though we did not do much as those who had money, but then up to today, I really appreciate it.
You're comfortable.
Yeah, yeah,
That is
because
what
we are
matters,
comfortable.
yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe I think you've talked so much about those who are married. What about those women who are not married? And sometimes they feel, will I invest too much that men won't approach me? They think I have so much
Get
money
intimidated.
that I don't end up being dated.
Mm.
You know, or maybe you're a single mother and they're like, hey, people they think I have a sponsor. You know, people have many assumptions when women make money. What would you maybe say to such women? They're not married.
They have money.
Yeah, and they have fears.
They have fears. Now, those ladies, I think there are some good ladies, by the way, who earn good money. They have their own properties and they are looking for men. I think men are afraid of approaching these ladies. In fact, if they can approach them, they would know whether they are for marriage or not for marriage. That is what I can say, because okay, because if God has given you even if God has given you a gift, like our pastor, body pastor, what he used to, if God has given you a gift of marriage, definitely he will bring somebody to marry you.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
If a man has a gift of marriage, he will bring a lady to him to marry. So I don't know, these days I don't know whether men are fearing women, those who have money or what. I don't know what is happening unless God intervenes. I don't know.
And I think the world is changing, as we've repeatedly said, and things are different from the yesteryears. Because as we've stated before, there are many households that are being led by the ladies, and we see women marrying late. So you just live out your life in full. Pursue all the opportunities you can get, and trust in God, live for Him. Just fear God, but go for every opportunity
That comes.
and God will do the rest.
But you know, I have a friend. I'm asking that because there was a post on Facebook where a friend was saying, it's a male friend, was saying for a woman to ensure you get married for a woman before you get too much money or before you get too many PhDs. Because, well, maybe he was speaking for men. I'm not a man, I don't know. Because he was saying men fear when you have all these things. They feel like you come in here, you've gone too far. Yeah. But the other way, I'm also thinking, should women stop pursuing their dreams just because you know, I'm hoping this man will come and I don't know when he'll come. Because you see, I think is it a stereotype?
Yeah, it's a stereotype, and at the same time, it depends on your attitude too. Generally, your attitude, like sometimes back, a week ago, we buried our landlord. Then we traveled for the burial at Kangundo, an exact example. And then when we reached there, because my shop is in KMC, just somewhere at the factory there. And when we got to Kangundo, our landlord used their single rooms behind and double rooms, and used to stay just behind there. He was over 80 years old. And we traveled for the burial. And people just, as they got into the gate and the compound, we were like, really? So he was so humble. He lived with us, ate with us. And when we went home, that is the time we knew, okay, so these people we live with every day and joke with. He lived so amply. So I think it depends on the attitude. So as you earn, as you go out there, and with the much degrees and the much as the Lord blesses you with, how do you carry yourself? How is your attitude towards relationship, towards men? You don't get into a relationship, or God can send you somebody anywhere, at church, at the workplace, in a matatu, at the stage, anywhere, at a wedding. How is your attitude? How do you carry yourself? Are you snobbish because I have money? Because if you are humble enough, you'll know later. Yeah, as you go by. So it depends on how you present yourself. Okay, ladies are coming out strongly. So when you come out so strongly, the guys will shy off. Yes.
But what I think, it's first getting to know yourself.
Yes.
You see, when you know yourself, you know even what you want. For sure, you can't be having, like, you're so, in your career, you're so successful. In your, like, asset base, you're doing good. And then you tell me the same woman is looking into marrying someone who is way beyond. You know, there's that category you look at. Let me just give an example of Susan Kidero. She's the daughter of the late Tomboy, right? Susan, I've ever read just an article, I think on Trula, about her. And then you could see she got married a bit late, because she got married at 40. That is not at the normal African age. So you could tell she was, her career was very successful. She's an ambitious woman, but at the same time, she wasn't just going to get married maybe to a bank teller, yet she has been in a managerial position for so long. So at the end of the day, it's just like being in a market. When you have a product, you know your target market. You know, these clothes I'm going to sell to people who live in Kileleshwa, or these clothes I'm going to sell to people who stay in Kayole. So the same way, do not be looking at a partner or a spouse who is probably, I'm not saying it's a bad career, probably a makanga. You see, it can't rhyme.
Yeah, there'll be trouble.
There will be trouble. Even your reasoning will not be the same.
Exactly.
At the same time, even the age matters.
Yeah.
If, like, I think Kidero was divorcee. You see, he had already been in marriage. He's someone who is a bit settled. And I think that's why probably the relationship is still flourishing. They're still there, you know. Same as Kinabobu Kolima. See, he married a woman who was already in, you know, she was already established. Okay. So it goes with knowing yourself, as in you cannot limit yourself because you're saying I want a husband. If God has said you get a husband, you will. But then it's not a must for him to be in those big careers, but in one way or another, you'll meet. He may be very mature and you can still rhyme. You know, as we've said, finances is not everything. Material wealth is not everything. There's more to life. There's more to having fame. Yeah.
Wow.
So never, a woman should never, a single woman especially, should never limit herself.
Wow, I think we have come to the end of the show, and before we close, we'll just maybe have a parting shot. Just say something as we close, maybe encourage someone who's there feeling, what? Will I ever make it? Or maybe they're wondering, should I pursue this dream? Should I go into investing? Just say something.
Well, my take is that I would encourage any woman, because the world has really changed. We have to work, and For any relationship, families to flourish, we have to help each other, because things in life happen. Whichever, as a woman, you should not just stay, even if you're married, even if your spouse is earning more. Get out there, do something. It brings honor and some self-worth. You feel like you are more than not just mopping the house and staying there. Go out there as much as the Lord enables you.
Okay.
Yes.
This is
Yeah, as we were talking about property, and was it property and
money. Yes.
money, property and the money. As I said earlier, I think it is good for each person, for a husband to make an effort and a wife to make an effort, because these are days whereby you cannot say, as a woman, I am not supposed to work. I want my husband to look for a job and work for, bring bread and everything. Now we have to arise. Women, we have to arise and do something to help our husbands. And it is not always a white collar that can help us. We can do even things with our hands. You can look for something to do, like I've been watching that pot there, that flower pot. You can say, okay, now I want to start something to do with my hands and see whether I can get customers. And once you start, you put all your mind there, and you find you get customers, and you have helped your husband, you have helped everybody in the house. Property, I think property is for married people. They share the property. I don't see the reason why we cannot. In case one goes, the property belongs to the other one who has been left behind. So there is no need of even saying that I want to look for my own property while you are married. You have to have both people knowing that each and every, you have to come in the open and say, okay, I have this, I have looked for this, and I want you to know, and just tell me what you think about it. And the husband, if he is a straightforward husband, will say, okay, then what do you say, my wife? We join together, or what do you want to say? Then she will say, okay, let us join together. The property, we will one day die and leave these things here. But then you make sure when you write a will, by the way, a will is very good. You write a will, even when you are young, you write a will. When you have those properties, you have a will, you say, okay, because I have children, this property will belong to so and so, this property will belong to so and so. Or you say they will both, my children will both own these properties. That will be better for them.
And then again, and just to compliment on what Agnes has said, that we should, we are believers. We should first, Lucy talked of identity. As we go out there into the world, remember who you are. We are Christians. And we operate by the rules of the Bible. It's nowadays it's easy to get lost in the world and what the world says, what is on Twitter, what is on Facebook, what is happening where and where. Despite the challenges, despite that the people won't be honest, my husband won't be honest, your wife won't be honest, your mother, your sister, you are afraid if I say this, if I show this, despite all the fears, we are governed by the word of God and to live right. So as we go out there, as we work, as we do everything, our identity is in Jesus Christ. Yes.
My takeaway would be, we shouldn't be too hard on ourselves. Like sometimes, not even sometimes, most of the times, we tend to compare. Not probably even to our peers or our peers. Sometimes it's even pressure from like our parents. What did they have? Like at this age, what had they accomplished? And you want to do the same or be even better. Let's not have that. Let's not be too hard on ourselves. Times have changed.
Yeah.
We might be having more challenges as to what they had before that. And life should never, we should not base our happiness and our life on just money or finances or assets. There's more to life than that. It's good to have that. It's good to invest in all this, careers and all that. But at the end of the day, it boils to how well have you lived, how fully you've lived your life. So live it, and especially to the youth. We still have that time to run around and do all that. But at the end of the day, make it worthwhile. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. It was very interesting, and we've had very different opinions concerning money, concerning assets, concerning, women acquiring resources. But one thing I usually say, you need wisdom. Because my take home was a wise woman builds her own home with her own hands. So it is your responsibility to ask God for wisdom. And actually God says, if anyone lacks wisdom, let it ask of me. So let's ask God for wisdom when it comes to investment. Don't feel limited because you're not married. Don't feel that, because I'm married, I can't move, I can't grow beyond this. No, there are very many opportunities for us as women, and even we've heard of how the government is giving women opportunities to invest in business. We are at a season where I can say we are at an advantage. We have advantages that can make us become better women. So thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to comment on this episode. Don't forget to like, and don't forget to subscribe.